Now the new topic that we are going to see here is nothing but the cross section of CMOS integrated circuit. What is this CMOS? I would like to write here, this CMOS stands for, this is CMOS, and this CMOS stands for complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Complementary metal oxide semiconductor. So what is this complementary metal oxide semiconductor? Complementary metal oxide semiconductor means here we are going to use both type of polarities of charge carriers which will help or support the conduction of current. Both type of polarities means we are going to use electrons and holes. So if you want to use both electrons or holes for supporting the current, so at that time we have to combine both NMOS and PMOS in a single substrate. I am repeating, here we are going to combine both NMOS and PMOS in a single substrate so that we have both type of mobile charge carriers in a single device. So for getting these things and what is the application of this complementary metal oxide semiconductor, we should have to understood that why we need complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Initially what happens, many circuit design can be implemented by using only NMOS, and many times we have to use many circuit diagram which has to be implemented by PMOS, and the device which is known as PMOS is the fabrication process is not very easy. The PMOS fabrication process is slightly complex. So during evolution process of this MOS circuitry, what we have done, we have combined both this NMOS or PMOS circuitry, and this particular CMOS circuitry in which we have combined both NMOS and PMOS circuitry will replace many of the circuit, many of the basic circuit elements from the practical devices, and those elements or those devices which has been replaced by this CMOS circuitry are nothing but diodes, BJTs, everything has been replaced when this CMOS circuitry come into existence, or we can say capacitor, resistors. These devices, these elements are also replaced by this CMOS, and this CMOS is nowadays, this CMOS is the nothing but the most widely used device used in the integrated circuit ICs. So in the ICs we are implementing many billions of CMOS in a single chip, and this particular implementation is also called VLSI design. That means this CMOS has the power to replace the basic circuit elements from the integrated circuit. So this is the power of CMOS. So we are going to analyze this CMOS circuitry also, and we are going to see how this CMOS is replacing all the basic circuit element from the circuits. So all those things we are going to see, but here we are going to see what is the cross section diagram of this CMOS integrated circuit. So observe here carefully, I have taken a large size substrate. This is a large size substrate, and substrate means basically it is made up of semiconductor. And initially when we made a semiconductor, the semiconductor is made up of silicon. That means this is a silicon semiconductor which is nothing but the intrinsic semiconductor. So what we are doing, we are going to dope this semiconductor. So I will write one by one. This is a basic silicon semiconductor. This is a basic silicon semiconductor which is acting as a body, or we can say the substrate which is acting as a body or a substrate. So what will happen, when we dope this semiconductor, we have to choose which type of atoms we have to dope. So this is plus, if you add the silicon semiconductor and if you are doping, so after doping we are going to make a N-type or P-type semiconductor. So silicon after doping will become either a N-type or P-type semiconductor, but we should have to decide which type of semiconductor we are going to make here so that we can have the exact doping. So I am going to dope this one with the acceptor atoms. So if silicon semiconductor is doped with acceptor atom, the resultant semiconductor that we are getting here is nothing but a p-type semiconductor. So we have made a p-type semiconductor. This is a p-type semiconductor. This is a large size p-type semiconductor. And in this semiconductor, we have selected one of its side, and in this one side, we are going to implement or we are going to create an NMOS. So for getting an NMOS structure, what we have to do, we have to select a small portion like this, and this is doped with heavily doped N plus region, a small portion like this, and we are going to dope this with N plus region only. And above this one we have here, this is nothing but silicon dioxide. This is a silicon dioxide layer, and above this silicon dioxide layer we have a metal layer like this. This is the metal layer, and I will discuss with you that during evolution process we have replaced this metal with polysilicon. What will be the reason, and what are the reason due to which we have replaced this metal by polysilicon? We will discuss all those things, but for here and now we have taken this is nothing but a metal, and below this one we are having a silicon, and here also we have a metal deposition, and above this metal deposition we have one terminal, and here also we have a metal deposition, and above this metal deposition we have a terminal. So this is known as, these three terminals are known as, this is the source terminal, this is the gate terminal, and this is the drain terminal. And of course this is large structure is nothing but the body or body terminal. We are going to see that one also, but here right now we are taken this large area. This is nothing but the body terminal. This is the body terminal. So since we are implementing many CMOS in an integrated circuit, approximately 1 lakh CMOS in a particular chip of an integrated circuit. So these CMOS are connected very close to each other. If these CMOS are very close to each other, we have to isolate one of the MOS with another. So if many CMOS are very close to each other, if you have seen a chip is of very small area, consists of very small area, and if I say in a small area of 1 mm by 1 mm, if I want to implement lakhs of CMOS, then you can also think that how close are the CMOS, one CMOS from each other. And if they are very close to each other, we have to isolate one CMOS from another. How to isolate one CMOS from another? For isolating one CMOS from another, what we are doing, we are doing the isolation techniques. And for this isolation technique, since we know that this silicon dioxide is very good insulator, we are using a thick layer of silicon dioxide here. So I am using a thick layer of silicon dioxide, and this is a thick layer of silicon dioxide which has been used at the corner of this particular CMOS. So we can observe that we can use another CMOS which is very close to this CMOS, and it has been implemented in practical chip design. So this is the isolation techniques. In this isolation techniques, what we are using, I will say thick, very thick silicon dioxide is used to isolate one CMOS to another. So I would like to say this is for isolation. So this is for isolation. And here also we have used a silicon dioxide, but this silicon dioxide is very thin. We are going to see how this thin and thick silicon dioxide can be made in our IC fabrication chapter, which is the last chapter of EDC syllabus. So here also we have used the silicon dioxide, and this is of thin silicon dioxide. So this is used for isolation, and this is used as a dielectric or insulator. So for isolation we are using thick silicon dioxide, and as an insulator, or we can say as in dielectric, we use very thin silicon dioxide. This is used at the gate side, that's why it is called a gate oxide, and this is also the oxide, and it is used for isolation at the corner of every MOS device. That's why it is called the field oxide. So I would like to write here, it is called field oxide. Field means the boundary, it is called field oxide. And here we are using this particular thin silicon dioxide, and this thin silicon dioxide is known as gate oxide. So this is called gate oxide because it is used as a surface at the top surface of the gate terminal. So this is the design of an NMOS. So now we are going to design a PMOS in this particular p-type substrate only. So as we know that for a PMOS, the substrate is of N-type. So since our substrate is of p-type, we cannot create PMOS in a p-type substrate. So to create the PMOS in an p-type substrate, we have to make a new substrate in this basic substrate only. And if you want to create a new substrate in this basic substrate only, we create a well-shaped region in this particular p-type substrate only. This well-shaped region, this is known as N-well. So that means I have created a N-well, that means a N-type semiconductor in a p-type semiconductor only. So the main substrate is of p-type, but for PMOS we need the substrate should be of N-type. For getting a substrate of N-type, we have created a N-well inside this p-type substrate only. So after creating this particular region, we have to take care that we have two regions again. This is the first region, which is known as the P plus region. This is the second region, which is known as again P plus region. Above this one we are having the silicon dioxide, which is known as gate oxide, very thin layer of silicon dioxide which is used for the purpose of dielectric. And above this dielectric we can use the metal layer. This is known as metal oxide semiconductor, and this terminal should be the gate terminal. And here we are using again one metal layer, and we have extended a terminal. This terminal is known as what is this terminal? This is the drain terminal. Observe carefully, the drain terminal of both the devices are close to each other. And after this one we have another region here, and this another region is extended likewise, and we have this is the source terminal. So this is the gate terminal. So this is the two different devices which has been fabricated in a single p-type semiconductor. So now observe here, this is the N-well, that means this is the body or the substrate of this PMOS is of N-type, and inside this N-type we have two heavily doped region, which is P plus and P plus, which is acting as drain and source, and in between this one we are having the gate region, and we have the metal here, or we can use the polysilicon also. So this is the structure of a complementary metal oxide semiconductor. I think you understood that a complementary metal oxide semiconductor is a combination of PMOS and NMOS both, and this is the fabrication process that we have analyzed, that we have understood so far. But to isolate this two particular device which is of NMOS and this particular which is of PMOS, we are using again one thick layer of silicon dioxide to isolate both of these devices. So I would like to give you a structural detail of this thing also. So this is a thick layer of silicon dioxide again, so that we can isolate both of these devices from each other. So every device which has been fabricated in a single chip has been isolated from each other by using this thick isolation silicon dioxide. So this is also a silicon dioxide which is used for isolation. If you fabricate another device beside this particular CMOS device, so when we fabricate another device, we have to isolate both of device by again a thick layer of silicon dioxide. So we have again taken a thick layer of silicon dioxide, and now our device construction is completed, and this structure is known as complementary metal oxide semiconductor. We are going to understand firstly that what is the application of this complementary metal oxide semiconductor. The application of this complementary metal oxide semiconductor according to your syllabus is nothing but a CMOS inverter. So, we are going to see what is a CMOS inverter first, and how to analyze a CMOS inverter. Then we are going to solve some question that is based on CMOS inverter also.